Bittersweet Pig was an animal breastfed with B-movies. Little light reached his head, oxygen was scarce, and his rope with reality looked like a hangman's noose.
Sweet and Sour Pig was a thug, but he thought he was a mobster.
They called him Sweet and Sour Pig for his addiction to sauce-coated balls and the chaos in his lair, much like a shipwreck. He worked as a glazier, and his threats began as a glazier's speech. "I come from bittersweet glass," in reference to the model of your windows, such as double, single, air-conditioned, fixed, oscillating, swinging, sliding. Although that doesn't matter, the important thing you should know is that you are going to go through them. Whatever type they are. The first thing will be the noise of the glass that will break into 13 large pieces and 70 small. 3 will cut you, but your body is adrenaline and you will not notice it. You'll never know you've cut yourself. The horizontal movement will end and the force of gravity will begin to work. The last photo recorded focused. From now on they will all be out of focus vertically. You have 5 floors left to repent, say goodbye, think about your end and your funeral, to wish not to crush anyone, to imagine your body made of minced meat, to think about mustard, God, something useless and smoking. You will imagine paradise and remember hell. You will understand the democracy of gravity, you will reach the ground, you will touch it and you will kiss it like Pacino kisses when he interprets Corleone. Tomorrow the television will spit out a still life on the sidewalk rumbling the end of your story. But in this city nobody looks at the sky and it will be a fall without a general shot, only post-mortem detail shots and twisted theories of passers-by. Bittersweet's speech was scary, but what was really scary was its relationship with fashion. That morning Bittersweet had jumped into the most ambitious neighborhood in this ambitious city. It was 12 in the morning. Without having consumed any narcotic when contemplating a shop window, his heart began to beat vigorously. The air in her lungs turned to nerve gas and her little brain grew bigger than her skull as she stared into a store window spitting out girls' party dresses under cold white lights. Tight black, red and pink dresses made with transparent and elastic fabrics that would burn whole if a cigarette butt touched them. They would burn like a fuel truck hitting a gas station. Mannequins under flammable fabrics, insensitive and easily combustible mannequins, a metaphor for who I am. The window spit out all the sins together. It was lust, it was envy, narcissism, it was the desire for something better that never comes and the desire to run away from there. Under the feet of the mannequins on fashion magazines, an amputated hand was asking for help wearing bracelets and rings made of metals as precious as those of a spoon in a roadside bar. Bittersweet took advantage of the moment that they weren't looking at him and took the amputated hand and some magazines as a souvenir. In addition to the pork balls, the thug liked to be spanked on his fat ass with the boat. The glazier mafioso fashion had marked his affiliates in a strange way. Although Bittersweet had been educated in holes, the trunks of cars still scared him, and his neurologist asked him to forget the trunks and open the glove compartment. That's where the most interesting things are always hidden. Back in her burrow, Bittersweet verified her neurologist's theory, opened the glove compartment and, after dodging some wrappers at the bottom, grabbed the hand of the mannequin that she had taken away from the shop window days ago. His gangster head imagined the dead hand of a dead woman. He turned the steering wheel and the Bittersweet car, how could it be otherwise, ended up crashing into a Chinese restaurant. The restaurant was 13 tables surrounded by photos of the owners posing with what they thought were important people. A very gay comedian already dead, an unemployed presenter and a teenage actress who left drugs a long time ago and no one remembered anymore. The sweet and sour car spun like a microwave on a Ferris wheel, destroying everything inside and out. The restaurant turned into a still life, turned into a mixed first and third world dump. A dump of all the celebrations of the year. A dump of framed certificates, of lucky frogs, of Halloween pumpkins, of juicers, of cash registers with only invoices, of letters in several languages all equally dirty, of Christmas lights, of boats with chopsticks, of fish tanks without fish and robots that cook rice full of stickers. The restaurant became a universe where you don't want to be born. It became the pessimism of the miner, a calendar without Sundays, soft drinks and soft drink advertising, ultra-fast information, the worst of the childish and the worst of mass production. The scene was a still life. It was technology saying no. It became God saying fuck you. The right rear view mirror smashed against a lucky cat that was going up and down its little cat's arm. It was not his lucky day.
The left mirror hung in an impossible position like Bittersweet's back.
The fender bent into a V. The hood into a W. The seats and neck of the fat man became Z. The bottles of red, orange and green sauce were mixed with the brake fluids, the antifreeze fluid, with carbonated drinks, with the bittersweet blood and other whitish liquid that came out of the piece of the face. A piece of brain shot out, crossing the line between fiction and reality, crossing the line between science and science fiction. The immeasurable metro line to the dealer's cave. The line of light screaming through the blind. The line almost always crooked.
The line on my face that makes me look like a man after a shipwreck.
The line that separates the skull from the glass behind which history changes and ends. The line that separates science fiction from the science of looms. The line that becomes a rope and asks you to hang yourself. The line of cigarette smoke that begins as a line and ends as a cloud, surely from a storm. As many lines as bills, sometimes with worse intentions, and at night lines of neighborhood lights, and some nights and barley lines of city lights. Lines that do join them they arrive in Vietnam. Lines of the hand that lie about your future as the news presenter lies. Has the hospital between his encephalic mass found a fortune cookie? Shot jumps to the operating room in which a team of doctors, neither sex nor multiracial, are examining the brain of Bittersweet, who, in addition to her poor shape, had had an accident in which the seatbelt did not work. The team's conversations and the sound of the instrument stop when the fortune cookie appears between the encephalic mass. The surgeon who liked crazy people as little as novelists, or anyone who invented realities, didn't mind breaking the cookie, unfolding the paper and reading the message. The granola cookie what you are looking for is at the bottom. The surgeon who liked metaphors as little as poets, or anyone who imagined realities, did not mind splitting the cookie, unfolding the paper and reading the message.
The cookie gurgled what you're looking for, it's at the bottom.
The surgeon who didn't like cookies as much as pastry chefs, or anyone who tried to make life sweeter, didn't mind breaking the cookie, unfolding the paper, and reading the message.
The cookie won what you are looking for, it is in the background. It was disgusting and a bit of sweet and sour brain ended up at the bottom of the sea.
To freeze that piece of brain was to waste time, it was to freeze chewed meat. It was to freeze disaster, it was to freeze failure. Freezing that piece of brain was a still life at 0 degrees, it was freezing disappointment, it was the iceberg the Titanic crashed into. It was the last penguin at the South Pole. It was a Frigopie in the freezer for 6 summers and the piece of bittersweet brain ended up that night in the sea eaten by the fish.